Yesterday afternoon, the heartbreaking news broke that one of the most beloved actors in Hollywood today, Philip Seymour Hoffman, had passed away at the tragically young age of 46. Hoffman died in his apartment by what police describe as an apparent drug overdose. Hoffman was nominated 4 times at the Academy Awards and winning once for Best Actor in Capote. John, your thoughts on the passing of Philip Seymour Hoffman?
I've already mentioned that, yes, we did Mailbag this weekend. I was literally doing Mailbag yesterday, live. And I'm sure a bunch of you guys were there with me. And all of a sudden, a couple of people I got a text message on my phone beside me, and I saw one comment pop up in the chat board saying Philip Seymour Hoffman died, and I looked down at my phone that had just buzzed, Philip Seymour Hoffman died. I'm like, what? And I said to everybody, guys, I'm just getting this news in, and I opened up my web browser, and I went to some reliable news sources, and yeah, it was being broken that Philip Seymour Hoffman had died. And this is one of those things where I will always remember where I was when I heard that Philip Seymour Hoffman died. It's like the Heath Ledger thing. I was literally coming out of a screening at Lionsgate Studio, and all of the journalists who were there with me, all checking our phones in the foyer, see what messages we missed, and everybody just stopped. Like 20 film journalists in the foyer, and we all kind of looked up silent at each other because we all got the same message. Heath Ledger had passed away. This is tragic on so many levels. Number one, he really is, the way Ashley described it, he really is one of the most beloved. People love seeing Philip Seymour Hoffman in film. He's one of those guys, I had a chance to meet him a couple of times, and he never struck me, he's one of those guys who never looked for the spotlight. He never wanted to be the center of attention, And I remember even doing a Q&A with him for the first film he ever directed. It was called Jack Goes Boating. And it was very weird. You could tell he was even uncomfortable sitting in a chair in front of an audience, because that's not the type of guy he was. He just loved his work, and he loved his craft, and he loved what he did. 4 times nominated for an Academy Award for his acting. Once winning for Best Lead Actor for Capote, and that performance was amazing. He did this little movie called Pirate Radio. I think that was the name of it. Do you remember that one? He did with Bill Nye, where they did this pirate radio station from a boat, that they did rock and roll from a boat.
No, I never saw it.
Not a very good film, but he was so good in it, actually. He was actually so, and he always brought, he always brought something different every single role. From being the chubby, lighthearted guy to being the fearful villain, the terrifying villain in a Mission Impossible film. He could do it all. And then even popping up in a film, a different type of genre, like a Hunger Games. And he was great in Hunger Games. It is sad. But here's one of the other things that makes me even more sad. I read the story about Philip Seymour Hoffman passing away. And it was not 10 minutes after the news broke that the narrative online had, in just 10 minutes, shifted from the loss of a great talent to what needles were found in his arm, to what did he overdose on. And look, I believe that we should tell cautionary tales. And I do believe in not whitewashing truth. And I do believe, there's value in talking about and understanding how even the most rich and the most famous among us have their own demons to fight. I believe in all that. But can we give it 48 hours before we make the narrative all about which drug did he OD on? There is value in talking about this stuff. I'm not going to disagree. But I think, let's at least give us 24 hours. And so it was really disappointing for me as an online film fanatic seeing the narrative change so quickly. But anyway, let's get back to the real story. Philip Seymour Hoffman, great talent. We've lost a giant. We've lost a great one right in his prime. 46 years old. Anyway, Dennis, where were you? I'm clearly you were at home getting ready for the Super Bowl party, but your reaction when you first heard about this?
Yeah, it's really sad. He's one of the most was one of the most talented actors that's working today. He, obviously with his Oscar win and all his nominations, he was in, besides Hunger Games, he also was in stuff where he wasn't the lead role, but he still shined, like Cold Mountain or Talented Mr. Ripley.
3 Academy Award nominations for supporting actor. Yes. He didn't have to be the main stage of attention. Yeah, he was incredible that way.
And even in a movie that wasn't that great, like Along Came Polly, like this comedy, he was funny in it, and he stood out. And I remember him in that role, even though it was a side character and it wasn't that great of a movie, but I always remember stuff like that. So yeah, it's really sad that we lost someone that, had many more years left. In making like more performances.
Yeah, I agree.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.